Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a great and wonderful day. So, here we have it here to where we had these students that you probably mentioned before, that these young girls were protesting the trans athlete that was in their school or playing hot puck or something along those lines, one of their sports, right? And they are the ones that when they protested this person, they're the ones that got banned. They're the ones that that couldn't be able to compete. Well, in a huge legal victory, that was swapped now. They can now compete, and they after the suing of this. And we're going to show you exactly what's going on here because you guys need to know what we have. So without further ado, here's the actual clip of them winning it and all that great stuff. So here you go.
Jasmine, introduce our top story tonight. A judge in Harrison County has ruled that the students who protested playing against a transgender athlete can continue to compete. The ruling came after more than 3 hours of testimony from school officials, a parent, and 2 of the 5 girls who participated in the protest. Judge Thomas Bedell addressed the court to specify this hearing was not addressing the issue of transgender athletes in sports. It was focused on whether there was a violation of due process and if the school prohibited free speech. In the end, Judge Bedell granted the plaintiff's preliminary injunction motion. That means the students will be allowed to compete in their next 2 matches of the season. Attorney General Patrick Morrisey reacting to Bedell's ruling, saying, "They need not be silent. They have won by having their voices heard. So glad we were able to weigh in on behalf of these courageous young girls and that they are able to play." The protesting Lincoln Middle School students will be competing against the transgender Bridgeport Middle School student one final time this season at the 8th grade spectacular on May 7th at Lincoln High School.
The judge pretty much said that you have violated their freedom of speech, their First Amendment right, and you cannot do this, so they are allowed to play. So we have a little bit more information that has coming down to this, right? A little bit more stuff that we had to kind of go over. And we will, right now, as we see this here, is that we have all the information. So we have this from, I may believe it's like review.com, with off brand's website, but either way, it goes on to say middle school girls banned from competing after protesting trans player receive huge legal win. The West Virginia middle school girls who were banned from competing for refusing to compete against a transgender player have temporarily won their lawsuit. Judge Thomas A. Bedell on Thursday granted a preliminary injunction allowing the girls to continue competing until the end of the season, regardless of their refusal. The case hinged on whether an unwritten scratch rule by Lincoln Middle School track coach Don Ritzensberg could be enforced. According to Ritzensberg, if a student opted out of participating in an event voluntarily, they wouldn't be allowed to compete in the same event at this next meet, the local station WT notes. As previously reported, 5 Lincoln Middle School girls refused to compete against a transgender athlete during the shot put competition. Afterward, they were banned from competing for the season. The problem is that the Ritzensberg scratch rule was never written down. The coach merely told athletes at the beginning of the season, so she claimed. 2 students who testified disputed that she never even did this much. Meanwhile, a lawyer with the Harrison County Board of Education argued that the students' free speech rights weren't curtailed by the scratch rule. Multiple people testified there were other forms of protesting the issue of transgender athletes in sports throughout the season, according to WTV. For example, school principal Lori Scott and a student both testified that the multiple Lincoln Middle School students had worn SWS Save Women's sports shirts at meets without issue. The only reason the Bows lawyer argued that the students were not allowed to participate in the next meet was because they violated their coach's scratch rule. Ultimately, Judge Bedell said that both sides had a point, but decided to grant a preliminary injunction to plaintiffs anyway, much to the joy of the women's activists like Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines goes on to say, good news, after being barred from future competitions, the 5 girls who refused to compete against a boy at a track field and meet in WV have won their lawsuit. A win for truth and sanity. Good on these girls and their parents for pushing back. It says, as it says, with Thursday's ruling, the students cannot be punished for any action related to the demonstration of free speech at the next 2 track meets. The decision on a final injunction will be held at a later date. So, yeah. West Virginia Attorney General Percy, who fielded an amicus brief in support of the lawsuit, was pleased. "I want to say to these students and their parents, I have your backs," he said in a statement. "You saw unfairness and expressed your disappointment and sacrificed your personal performances and a sport that you love, exercise your constitutionally protected freedom of speech and expression. These girls didn't disrupt anything when they protested. They should be commended, not punished. We need to teach them that it's noble to stand firm in their beliefs and address their grievances within the protections guaranteed by our Constitution. They need not be silent. They have won by having their voices heard. So glad we were able to weigh in on behalf of these courageous young girls and that they are able to play," he added. Yes, ladies. Yes. And I think these young girls deserve a huge amount of praise. They stood up for what they believed in. They wanted to make sure that they were able not to compete against a biological male at their sports, and they faced repercussion for it, for some god apparent reason, fought that repercussion, and after they fought that repercussion, they won. They won at the court. And the school now looks like a bunch of idiots that hate the First Amendment and the Constitution and stuff like that, right? So, that being said, they got a great victory. Now, I'm going to add this as well for everybody, for you guys to understand here and all that great stuff. Ladies, this is the way you should be able to fight. And this is the way that you have deemed everything to be, great in your prospect or whatever. Sorry about the lamp. This is something that feels rewarding, feels powerful, and what you guys should have been doing from the get-go. As I said, these young girls are the adults in the room. They are the ones being more mature about this, and this is a great, huge victory for them. And for ladies in general. And now that we see this, it's time to realize that we got to be on the force to protect these ladies and these young girls for fighting against their rights, fighting against the corruption, the evil tree that is there. So, much praise to them. Congratulations, young ladies, for actually doing this. Huge victory. Remember, we are on the force of fighting back the far left, and I love to see it. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Let's guys share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. This is algorithmic disease, the social media.